For those of you who don't know, I started posting on social media promoting body positivity, posting mid-size fashion content, and I actually started doing this when I was a junior in college and just kept posting this fashion-oriented content for the next 3.5 years. During that time, I was signed on to a modeling agency, which was super weird for me because I'm not someone who has ever looked in the mirror and saw, someone who could be a model. But it was around this time I started becoming more aware of how other people viewed my physical appearance. And I do want to talk to you all today about why I actually stopped posting fashion content years ago, stopped working with brands, stopped working with a modeling agency, and actually why I ended up deleting a bunch of my old pictures and videos, and I started posting about Jesus instead. If this video brings you closer to Jesus, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like and comment below. So I think the worst part about modeling that I experienced is it's a profession, and in our careers we often seek purpose. And I know any job I've ever done where I'm getting paid, where I didn't feel like I was making a difference, it felt like a failure to me. Purpose is super important to me. That's how the Lord designed me. And basically, as a model, you get jobs because of your physical appearance. And honestly, I've always loved the art behind modeling. I think ideally, I would have loved to have done runway or editorial. And yes, I know that those models don't usually make as much as commercial models, but I do love the art behind fashion. And I love when modeling and that fashion art meet. I think it's so cool. I do think all art forms have the power to make a difference. But I was primarily working with brands here on social media because I was signed to my agency actually right before the pandemic in 2020. And the fashion industry, if you don't know, basically came to a halt for a period of time after. And so my job was wearing clothes, jewelry, all the stuff that brands sent me, and setting up my camera in different parts of the house and just taking pictures of myself. And yeah, I was having fun with the creativity and all of that, but I didn't feel purposeful. In fact, I was trying to grow my audience, and the number one demographic that was following me at the time was middle-aged men from different countries. And my target audience, if I can use a little marketing term here, was women who were trying to recover from body image issues and eating disorders. I personally wanted to make a difference with women specifically who were struggling with their physical appearance, and I wanted my content to give them the freedom they needed to wear the clothes they want, to not feel insecure because of beauty standards. But over 80% of my followers were men, at least 20 years older than me at the time, which was not really the problem in itself. If my content helps them, that's great. But I will say that so many of these men tried contacting me in DMs, or they would hunt for me on Facebook or LinkedIn with sexually explicit or romantically forward messages. And guys, it made me feel so objectified. At first I thought it was kind of funny, but then I started reading these comments and these DMs, and it made me feel like these people were following me for just gross reasons. I felt like they were getting off seeing me wear Fashion Nova clothes or whatever I was modeling on social media. And guys, a lot of these clothes were tight-fitting. I did underwear modeling for a period of time, and I never ever started any accounts on, those websites where women basically sell their pictures for people for spiritually immoral reasons. I never liked that, and I never liked that a lot of my colleagues and peers in the industry had an OF account or that people would pressure me into starting one. I'm so grateful now that I never ever started that account and I never was aligned with it. But I was also a virgin, and I still am. I am waiting for marriage as someone who loves Jesus. And honestly, I do believe that's because of the grace and mercy of Jesus. I never had a long-term relationship with anyone, so I never did that with anyone. And personally, it is a load off. I am so grateful at this time that I have decided to wait for marriage. But back on my point, modeling made me feel objectified. And I think a lot of us who get into this profession may also feel the same way. Guys, models are the most insecure people you will ever meet because their entire job is based on their physical appearance, which God, says in the Bible, he does not look at outward appearances. He looks at the heart. So we're here trying to optimize our appearances to get work, and it makes us so insecure. And the DMs I got from all these people made me feel like my worth was rooted in my physical appearance. That creates so much insecurity. And I didn't realize at the time that all of that focus on my outward appearance was just making me really depressed and very mentally sick, because viewing someone as an object for your own desire and not as a human being with feelings and the worth God gave them when he gave us all life, honestly, I learned spiritually that that's an act of hatred. Viewing people as objects is hatred. But viewing someone as a person who is loved, who probably seeks to be loved in return just for who they are, that's love. And that's the type of love I learned when I actually got to know Jesus personally for the first time in late 2020, early 2021. So this modeling lifestyle, and I also think the pandemic and isolation from family and friends that really did love me because of who I was, it just made me so emotionally and mentally sick. And, I see our purpose truly now is to love God, love others, and love ourselves. Our purpose in life is not really to be happy or rich or popular or beautiful or all these things people base their purpose on. Jesus fully transformed me on the inside, but he also transformed my life around me as well. During my seasons of growing so close to him, I experienced losing friends that weren't good for me, and I got closer to people who were good for me, people that I care about, but also who put the same care and effort into the friendship as I do. I found better medication, thank Jesus, that didn't give me, the brain fog and exhaustion that a lot of bipolar medications cause. And I started loving myself truly for the first time in my life. I used to preach self-love on social media, but guys, I did not know what it meant. And I loved myself because I knew God loved me. And if he loved me, I was worth loving. And I had to agree with him. And he just gave me more purpose in life and on social media in general. And I don't get the same engagement or likes anymore, especially on Instagram. But I know the content I create now, I do it through the Holy Spirit. And because I allow him to work through me, I know my content has worth, and I also know it makes me feel loved, and I've seen it make a lot of other people feel loved as well. I always say obedience to God, doing his will and not your own for your life, is actually synonymous with loving him. And every time, guys, I create content through him, all the content I do now, I know I am loving him back. And he has revealed his love to me in just so many ways, and he has strengthened who I am and literally everything in my life with love. And I can say that I am fortified through the love I experience through my relationship with Jesus. At this point in my life, right now, my biggest concern every day, without any stress or fear, is just, hey God, what's my daily bread? What is your will for me today? And we know that Jesus many times throughout the Gospels compares eating food, our daily bread, to just following the Father's will for our lives. So every day, that's what I do. I ask him, what do you need me to do today? And guys, he says, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worries of its own. He will get me started with the day, and I just follow him. That's it. And it takes just wanting to follow him. Like, you just have to have that desire and have him help you align your heart to him. It's beautiful. It's honestly so peaceful. I've learned that his will for my life every day just makes me live a fully mentally, spiritually, and physically complete life for not just myself, but also for others as well. And as I've sought Jesus and just focused on doing his will for me every day, I've really seen God supplying for my needs. When I was in modeling and, I was making money off social media, working for brands, I really wasn't making enough to support myself, even working retail and doing all the fashion stuff. Like, I was not making enough to support myself, not making nearly as much as I wanted to. Obviously, God told me not to worry about that and just worry about following him, right? Any kind of focus on making money is actually greed in the Father's eyes. That's something I've learned in our world too, is our world is just like, just at least value on making a living for yourself. And that seems normal in worldly common sense, but it is not godly common sense. And he actually had to purify me. And once he did that, I actually found a better job, started working full-time in social media and marketing. Like, everything changed. And so really, if you surrender that desire to just make a general living for yourself, that little bit of greed, God will actually help supply you everything you need as you do that, as you repent of that, which I think is so, so amazing. I remember in 2022, I did not sleep for 8 months. And this is about God's supplication, guys. This is about his provision. At this time, I was experiencing mental and physical hardships from not being able to sleep, working retail, standing up all day. Then I applied for this job that LinkedIn auto-denied because I did not have the right keywords on my resume. So if you're job hunting right now, I just got out of that season as well. You gotta have the right keywords when you are applying for these jobs, or they will auto-dump your resume. And it's not just on LinkedIn, it's all these softwares that all these companies use. So that's my job hunting tip for you today. But basically, LinkedIn auto-denied my resume, and then for the same job, a recruiter reached out to me, and he was the one who helped me get this job. He was actually the brother of my boss at the time, and it worked out so beautifully. And then later on, I know a lot of us were laid off early last year, mid 2024, and guess how long it took me to find a new job? It took me 8 months, which is insane because that's how long I lost sleep. And it was like this beautiful restoration of everything I had lost while I didn't sleep. I started feeling rested again. I started feeling awake again, able to handle life. The overwhelm that I used to experience really dialed down. And I saw that, yes, I was laid off. Yes, I was job hunting, applying for as many jobs as I could every single day. It was a lot of work, but I will say I was able to sleep so deeply during this time, and it was just so essential. I will say I did interview for all these positions that I got. I did the writing tests, I did the skill tests they required, but the way each job, the one I have now, the one I had before, like the way they were presented to me, they were presented as gifts. And in a way, God essentially handed me the connections I needed to get these jobs. You know, when God has a place for you to be, he presents opportunities as gifts. And even in my last job in 2022, the retail position I had before I was working full-time for a marketing agency, like he gave me that job as a gift too. I knew the manager, she made a post on LinkedIn, said she was hiring, and all I had to do was like reply to her message and I got the job. So literally the last 3 jobs I've earned. God gave them to me, and I fully attribute all of these as gifts from him. And of course, God prepared me for each one as well. I never started a job that I wasn't ready for. Honestly, what I'm doing now for work, I was prepared for by the last position I had, and also by creating content all these months while I've been job hunting. And when we got Cooper, he's been on my channel before. He's my little Chihuahua Beagle mix, my Cheagle. We saw his picture online on the Rescue's website, and I literally heard the Holy Spirit whisper, "You're gonna get this dog." And the next day, I had a doctor's appointment, and I hope this isn't gross, but if you ever had like a plantar wart on your feet, my doctor that morning had frozen all of them, so I had a lot of pain while I was walking. And the only reason that I went to see this dog at this dog rescue meet and greet was because the Lord told me we'd get him. Like, I would never have gone through with all that pain to get a dog unless I knew for a fact we were going to get the dog. And obviously everything God gives us is good. So my mom and I went, we met Cooper, and he was just the sweetest little guy. Everyone wanted to meet him. Like, he was the star dog. He was the dog everyone was there to meet. People were like bringing their own beagles because Cooper really does look like a beagle, and they're like, "Oh, our beagle gets along with him." So we're like, we're not going to get him. The whole time we were at this rescue meet and greet, I had to sit down, and I was like applying online for Cooper, and we ended up getting him. He has helped my mom mentally recover from her third bout of cancer. He just brings so much love to us, and I will say that each opportunity I received, because I chose to follow God instead of myself, every gift like Cooper that I have found literally would not have happened if I had just kept doing my own will, kept modeling or doing fashion content, thinking that that was somehow going to bring me success one day. So we don't know on our own what will bring us success. Through obeying God, he has just healed me in so many ways, especially because he has ceased sin in me to a really good degree and just made me more loving to him and others and myself. And I think that becoming more like Jesus has just brought a lot of healing. I still have bipolar disorder, but it is like not the same. It's almost like therapy tried teaching me this for such a long time. But when I experience symptoms like manic anxiety or numbness from depression, I still feel everything very deeply, but it's almost like I'm observing everything at a distance now. Like, I don't get the same anxious thoughts confused for my actual thoughts that I choose to have anymore, because I learned to compare everything I had with the truth of the Bible. And this is such a huge part of my testimony as well, is that I think that's why therapy never worked, but Jesus did, is because giving up these anxious, evil thoughts, what standard was I using to know if these thoughts were bad or good? And when I finally read the Bible, was understanding it, seeking wisdom from God, I was finally able to take every anxious, dark thought captive. And reading the Bible actually gave me that power and ability to really detach myself from bipolar emotions or anxious beliefs. So when I tell you that I have so much peace now in my life compared to when I was just doing my own thing, I mean that I know I will always have something going for me, and I will always have love. And love, remember guys, God himself is love. Always remember that he wants what's best for us. I don't worry about where I'll end up now, because I know that God has a plan and purpose for me if I choose to follow him. And that's all I have to aim for each and every day. All I have to do is follow God, and I will have purpose in a way that's not selfish or objectifying or demeaning. I will still suffer. Suffering is part of living on this earth, because humans are evil. This earth is evil, especially without God. Even Jesus suffered because this earth the enemy, all of that is evil. Jesus was not exempt from suffering, Suffering is just a part of this side of heaven. But I have learned that God looks at our lives through Jesus as eternal. For those of us who love Jesus and give up our lives to him, Jesus says, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." And that is from Matthew 16. And that's what I did. And I gave him everything. And, it's an active choice I have to make every day to keep surrendering everything in my life to him and not choose my own path. That's why God gives us free will. So we can either choose him or choose ourselves. And it is a choice, like I said, we make every day. And giving my life to Jesus is why I know I am loved and why I know my life has purpose in every season, whether it's good or bad. I do not feel objectified, but rather I feel fully known, loved, and cared for. And I just have this internal strength that I never knew was possible. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure, if you'd like to share this testimony with anyone you want. You have my permission to share. Just know that you are unconditionally loved no matter what. If you want more community in your faith journey, and maybe church has been hard for you to go to during the weeks, you can join our Discord group. There is a link in the description below, as well as a link in the profile of this channel as well. I hope to see you guys soon, and thank you so much again.